You know I gotta try it, right? Oh yeah. There's some stickage for you. Stuck in pretty good. Let's try one more time. Let's try employee rights. Here's your employee rights. You don't have any rights, you're an employee. You got no rights. Alright, that was fun. I don't know if I got all that. Anyway, the handle, the cross guard's just a little bit loose, but other than that, it's fine. Alright. So we're here. Might as well. Let's try employee rights again. Oh, I missed that one. I messed that one up. I guess the employees have got some rights. There we go. A little bit better there. Yeah. Poetic. Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, it's been a while since I've done a walk and talk, knife walk and talk, and today, even though it's going to be hot, I can already tell the humidity is a lot lower, and so it just doesn't have that muggy, sticky feel to it. I was going to go up to the lake and everything today, but that heat exhaustion I had on Sunday really took it out of me, and I found that I'm having to run my air conditioner a couple of degrees lower than I normally do. I usually have it set pretty high just to keep the electricity costs down, but I normally have it set at like 84 degrees, and I've been having to set it at 82 and 83 just because I felt so hot, you know. If you ever get heat stroke or heat exhaustion, it takes down your ability to handle heat after that for a long time. I don't know if it's permanent, but for the longest time, I saw it happen to a gentleman we had working at the range. He was in his 70s or 80s, and he sat there and got too hot in the sun, and he got heat stroke, heat exhaustion, and it really affected him. After that, he couldn't take heat like he used to. Cause man, this furniture has definitely seen some better days. Look at that. Yeah, that's why it's called junk. Anyway, looks like they're going to be mowing today. But yeah. There's a cat down there waiting. I think it's mama cat. Waiting for food. She's had 2-3 bowls. She looks like she's pregnant again. She's had 2 or 3 bowls of food already. Because Shadow stayed in all last night and wanted out this morning. Buddy came in. When Shadow left, he left some food that Buddy started eating. When Buddy left, he left some food that I gave to her. But she's, like I said, she looks like she's pregnant again. Probably some of Buddy's kittens. And so she's extra hungry. I'll do the review inside because I don't really have a place that I can whip out my Bowie knife without people freaking out. But yeah, I can tell the last few days, man, the humidity's been way up there. And it's just been like a sauna, man. You step out and you're like, oh my God. But now, even though it's like 80-something degrees and the wind's blowing, with the humidity down, it's not bad at all. And that's what gets you. Even if you've got shade and everything else, when the humidity goes up, your ability to sweat, to cool yourself off, goes down. And everything feels a lot hotter. But anyways, it's still, I was going to try to get some of my walking done, but it's still too hot. See, there she is. Mama cat. Mama cat. Well, let's get you something. Don't worry, I'll bring you some. Alright, so here we got it on the inside. Now, when I was throwing this the first time, it stuck both times, and afterwards, you know, I put the videos in there, but afterwards I noticed that this guard was loosened. That was before that was before the next video I did where I threw and I missed. I wasn't holding the camera right, so you couldn't see it, but it hit with the guard up here against the board. Now that I would expect to loosen it up, but also, you know, any kind of shock, you know, like batoning or throwing a knife is gonna, you know, and this has some mass to it, so it's gonna try to slam forward. Now, it's wiggled more since that. This is pretty easy to fix. There's a couple of ways I know of, at least, to fix it. At least I can think of 3 ways that probably would fix it, but there's probably at least a dozen more. One is you push the guard up as much as you can, and you get some string. Bank line is probably too thick, but you get some string and you make a loop, like a knot. Cinch it up, you tighten it up like that, and then that'll tighten it up. A more professional way is to put a shim in there, in that little space. You just put a little metal shim on either side. That'll tighten it up. Another one is to soak this in water. I mean, you know, leather swells, but this may have been stabilized and bonded some other way. To me, this is no big deal. I mean, the handle is not rattling. It's this. This is the only thing that's rattling. It's the only thing that's loose. The handle is still tight. And of course, you know, there's your tang right there. A lot of times when you see these with a lot of metal, if that metal doesn't continue into the handle, it's not a full tang, which, you know, I knew this wasn't a full tang. It's a stick tang, basically. And a lot of times they come through here and it's just peened over. This one, something different was done. I haven't checked it with a magnet, but it's got this nice smooth, it feels like stone wash finish, man. I love the feel of this. It's just really a really smooth blackened metal. I think it's 3CR13 or something, but man, this thing is great. Now all I've done is touch it up a little bit with this, you know, Victorinox, but the bevels along here are pretty good. This was a little wonky, you know, the bevel and everything. After throwing everything, there were no rolls, no chips. Yeah, it factored. It had some not as sharp spots. So basically, I took this guy, matched the bevel, you know, with it. I'm trying to do this to the camera, and just basically went like that. You know, not real hard or anything, just to keep like a working edge on it, because this is fun to throw, man. I love throwing this thing. The camera didn't pick it up when I was out there the last time throwing it, but I threw it quite a few times at that board. I thought I was recording it the whole time, but you know, you got to hit record on these, even though you're seeing a picture. You got to hit record, or it's not going to do anything. And yeah, I was kind of addled. My brain's been affected more so than normal with that. If I keep going on about it, it's because it's a traumatic event. Whenever you, I mean, sometimes if you have a life-changing, a life or death situation happen, it happens so fast that sometimes it's easy to get over quickly. But if it slowly creeps up on you, like exhaustion, heat exhaustion, everything, you have more time to start contemplating stuff, you know, like thinking about things. And then if you survive it afterwards, it can affect you mentally, you know. But I mean, it affected me physically too, man, because I was exhausted. I mean, not just heat exhaustion, physical exhaustion, because I'd taken that scooter up and down the stairs a couple of times. And as far as like the scooter videos and everything, I've listened to some constructive criticism on it, and yeah, I don't need to show going up and down the stairs with it each time. I can leave that off. And I also don't need to show a trip that I've already shown before, you know, the route, unless there's something going on. But sometimes, you know, like just that Love Park route, that's just a good little scenic route to just drive and talk and BS, you know. And that's usually what I do anyway, you know. So now, the other thing about this knife is I can't get over the fact that it's only $13. The price may go up, but I mean, when I bought it was $13. And a lot of times I've looked at this, but I've passed it up because, you know, China. But as far as knives are, you know, like this that are being made, I trust China more than I trust Pakistan. I trust China when Smoky Mountain Knife Works says that this is, when they name the steel, sometimes it just says stainless steel, but when they name it, what it is, I'll have to look at the specs again, but I think it's 3CR13. Anyway, I don't care. You know, as long as it holds an edge, and stainless steel is nice to have when you're messing around in humid environments and everything else, you know, because, yeah. If you know how to maintain it, it's not hard with carbon steel. But, I mean, this looks like a nice patinaed carbon steel blade. And highly polished, nice looking leather here. Nice cutouts, you know, for your hands so that you can hold it like that. This is well thought out because your finger can get around here and you're in no way coming in contact with that. But you got more leverage for funky stuff, you know, that you want to do. It's got enough weight up here in the top to be, you know, a good chopper, but it's not and super heavy and everything. This is basically an excellent, what it says it was, combat Bowie, you know. They don't always have to cost a lot of money and be made by well-known name brand people and everything to be effective, you know. And the days of this where people were basically knife fighting and stuff, like I said, is usually that's something way in the past. Because once revolvers and stuff started happening, the need for this for self-defense went way down. And if you don't need this much reach and everything, you know, you could just carry a machete and have more reach and make a thinner blade, which is easier to weld. But the Bowie knife, like I said, was designed basically modified from a kitchen knife, modified from existing knives, and basically designed for fighting, knife fighting, you know, against people. So I like this one. It's one of my favorite mess around with knives. And I'm not just saying that just because I just got it. I say that because it's another thing is the value. Man, I mean, you don't have to spend $200, $300, even more for a Bowie knife just to have, you know, just the feel of it. Look at it. Mess around with it. You might not be able to carry it, but here in Texas, you can carry it. There's only a few places where it's restricted, and that's just because of the length of the blade. It's over 5.5 inches. You start getting over 5.5 inches, there are certain areas that are restricted. Beyond that, you can carry this thing anywhere. I mean, don't take my word for it. You know, look it up for the laws and stuff like that. If it says no weapons allowed, then private places can do what they want. You know, no matter what you think your rights are, they have the right as a private business to say, no, you can't carry that in here. You know. But anyways, yeah, that's my evaluation on this knife so far. I've had it for like a week. I've done a little bit of chopping with it. But I think I deleted that video. But it was in one of my scooter rides out to I call it Camp Blood. But in the back of that sign, again, I thought the video was running when I just did audio only. That's the day of the March of Death or whatever I put up there, where I thought I had the camera going, but it wasn't. But on the back of that sign on the other side, where it just says truck entrance and spray paint. So they had recycled some kind of sign. But that lake out there, that's owned by the state of Texas. And that lake was, I'll put up the stuff on it, but it was made in, it filled and everything in 1965 by the Army Corps of Engineers. And it wasn't used for military purposes, but it has a dam and everything. I'll put all the statistics up there. But that used to be a state public boat ramp. Now they have boat ramps on the lake, but they're all private. And so you have to pay, you know, to put your boat in the water. Because that's state-owned and it's a boat ramp and it's closed for boat ramping and everything, I don't think it's closed for you to walk around in there and everything, because I've seen people do it. I've seen people park there. Nobody really hassles you. Now, if you were to stay there and camp and, you know, right now there's a burn ban, but I mean, if you were to set up fire or, you know, draw attention to yourself, shoot firearms or whatever, you'd probably get unwanted attention, you know. But I don't intend to do any of that. I mean, that's just like, if you've ever watched this one guy, he does stealth camping, where he'll just camp in different areas and stuff like that. And it would be that would be the approach I would do with that one. I could still bring a camera and everything. Like I said, it's a plan. It's a plan. I don't know how far I'm going to get with that plan, but it's a plan. And anyway, so yeah, there's my review on this. Sorry, there's a lot of different ramblings and everything else in there, but that's just the way it goes. And yeah, I can highly recommend this knife as for a purchase. You know, for whatever you want to use it for. I have not baton with it, but it feels like it would do it perfectly fine if you want to baton your knife. Just don't hit it back here. You've got enough length on this blade that you can split, you know, at least, what, a 9-inch log? What the hell? You know, anyways. We won't get into that ramble, but I just realized I hadn't covered the sheath. Didn't really talk about it that much, but one of the things I noticed when it was shipped, this strap was over on this side, I don't like straps that are on that side when the edge is on this side. The sheath is serviceable. I mean, it's perfectly fine for what it has. You know, it does. It also has like a, if you want a scout carry, it's got a little loop for that. I'm fine with this. This I think is simulated leather or slether, because the grain looks too. It doesn't really have that leather. If it is, it's not much of leather, but it's functional. You got rivets in the right place, you know, to keep the blade from wiping you out if you somehow fall on your sword. And yeah, perfectly fine. Now, because it's the same size and, you know, patterned after the case Bowie, if you had one of those, you could use the leather sheath from it, or the Ontario SP10 Combat Raider Bowie, the same thing. You know, you can swap sheath out, or you can make one, or you can get one, you know, I mean, but like I said, this is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And then I had a little picture of it. This is my zombie apocalypse setup. Or just drive down. I'm going to drive next time I go down the lake. I'm going to have this set up like this, because there are certain areas I want to clear the brush out a little bit, and this thing won't fall out. And if something else tries to mess with me, I can pull this out if I have to. Of course, this is the throttle side, and it's not easy to balance on the little scooter. I wouldn't recommend the scooter as a survival thing, but I mean, you know, as your sole survival equipment. But it wouldn't be bad, because this folds down. You could store this thing in a car or something like that, and or a truck. And it's not bad if you ran out of gas or your vehicle broke down. You might be able to just whip out your little scooter, and as long as you know your limitation on mileage, as long as you don't exceed that, you might be able to get some gas or whatever you need to do. And yeah, so there you go, some little ideas. But excellent Bowie knife here for the price. I can highly recommend it. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.